This is Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away."
The Mortician in San Francisco by Randall Mann. This may sound queer, but in 1985, I held the delicate hands of Dan White. I prepared him for burial. By then, Harvey Milk was made myth by the year since he was shot. I remember when Harvey was shot, 20, and I knew I was queer. Those were the years, Levi's and leather jackets holding hands on Castro Street, cheering for Harvey Milk. Elected on the same day as Dan White. I often wonder about Supervisor White, who fatally shot Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Milk, who was one of us, a Castro queer. May 21st, 1979, the jury hands down a sentence, 7 years, in truth, 5 years, for ex-cop, ex-fireman Dan White, for the blood on his hands. When he confessed that he had shot the mayor and the queer, a few men in blue cheered. And Harvey Milk? Why cry over spilled milk? Some wondered semi-privately for years it meant one less queer. The jurors turned to White. If just the mayor had been shot, Dan might have had trouble on his hands. But for the 12 who held his life in their hands, maybe didn't mind the death of Harvey Milk. Maybe the second murder offered him a shot at serving only a few years. In the end, he committed suicide, this Dan White, and he was made presentable by a queer.
Blackberry Picking by Seamus Heaney. For Philip Hobsbawm. Late August, given heavy rain and sun, for a full week the blackberries would ripen. At first, just one, a glossy purple clot, among others, red, green, hard as a knot. You ate that first one, and its flesh was sweet like thickened wine. Summer's blood was in it, leaving stains upon the tongue, and lust for picking. Then red ones inked up, and that hunger sent us out with milk cans, pea tins, jam pots, where briars scratched and wet grass bleached our boots. Round hayfields, cornfields, and potato drills, we trekked and picked until the cans were full, until the tinkling bottom had been covered with green ones, and on top, big dark blobs burned like a plate of eyes. Our hands were peppered with thorn pricks, our palms sticky as bluebeards. We hoarded the fresh berries in the byre, but when the bath was full, we found a fur, a rat-gray fungus glutting on our cash. The juice was stinking too. Once off the bush, the fruit fermented. The sweet flesh would turn sour. I always felt like crying. It wasn't fair that all the lovely canfuls smelt of rot. Each year, I hoped they'd keep, knew they would not.
This is The Obligation to be Happy by Linda Paston. It is more onerous than the rights of beauty or housework, harder than love. Will you expect it of me casually? Will you expect the sun to come up, not in spite of rain or clouds, but because of them? And so I smile, as if my own fidelity to sadness were a hidden vice, that downward tug on my mouth. My old suspicion that health and love were brief irrelevances in the warm dark strangled at dawn. Happiness, I try to hoist it on my narrow shoulders once more. a knapsack heavy of gold coins. I stumble around the house, bump into things, but only Midas himself would understand.
The ocean by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The ocean has its silent caves, deep, quiet, and alone. Though there be fury on the waves, beneath them there is none. The awful spirits of the deep hold their communion there, and there are those for whom we weep, the young, the bright, the fair. Calmly the wearied seamen rest beneath their own blue seas. The ocean's solitudes are blessed, for there is purity. The earth has guilt, the earth has care, and quiet are its graves. But peaceful sleep is ever there beneath the dark blue waves. Quite frankly, by Mark Holiday, they got old. They got old and died. But first they composed plangent depictions of how much they lost and how much cared about losing. Meantime, their hair got thin and more thin as their shoulders went slumping. Okay, but not before the photo albums got arranged by them. Arranged with a niftiness. Not just 2 or 3, but 18 photo albums. Yes, 18 eventually. 18 albums proving the beauty of them and not someone else. Them and their relations and friends incontrovertible. Playing croquet in that Bloomington yard, floating on those comic inflatables at Dow Lake, giggling at the Dairy Queen, waltzing at the wedding, building a Lego palace on the porch, holding the baby beside the rental truck, leaning on the Hemingway statue at Pamplona, discussing the eternity of art in that Sardinian restaurant, yes. And so, quite frankly, at the end of the day, if they got old and died, okay, sure. But, quite frankly, how much does that matter in view of the 18 photo albums? Big ones, 13 inches by 12 inches, each full of such undeniable beauty.
Enough, by Susan Buffett. I am wearing dark glasses inside the house to match my dark mood. I have left all the sugar out of the pie. My rage is a sort of domestic rage. I learned it from my mother, who learned it from her mother before her, and so on. Surely the Greeks have a word for this. Or surely the Germans do. The more words a person knows to describe her private sufferings, the more distantly she can perceive them. I repeat a list, the names of all the cities I've known, and watch an ant drag its crooked shadow home. What does it mean to love the life we've been given? To act well the part that's been cast for us? Wind, light, fire, time. A train whistles through the far hills. One day, I plan to be riding it.
Dream Song 14 by John Vernon. Life, friends, is boring. We must not say so. After all, the sky flashes, the great sea yearns, we ourselves flash and yearn. Moreover, my mother told me as a boy, repeatedly, ever to confess you are bored means you have no inner resources. I must conclude now that I have no inner resources, for I am heavy bored. Peoples bore me, literature bores me, especially great literature. Henry bores me, with his plights and gripes as bad as Achilles, who loves people and valiant art, which bores me. And the tranquil hills and Jim look like a drag, and somehow a dog has taken itself and its tail considerably away into mountains or sea or sky, leaving behind me, Wag.
Prayer for My Father by Robert Bly. Your head is still restless, rolling east and west. That body in you, insisting on living, is the old hawk for whom the world darkens. If I am not with you when you die, that is just. It is all right. That part of you cleaned my bones more than once, but I will meet you in the young hawk, whom I see inside both you and me. He will guide you to the Lord of night, who will give you the tenderness you want to hear.
Sorrow is Not My Name by Ross Gay, after Gwendolyn Brooks. No matter the pull toward a brink, no matter the florid, deep sleep awaits, there is a time for everything. Look, just this morning, a vulture nodded his red, grizzled head at me, and I looked at him, admiring the sickle of his beak. Then the wind kicked up, and after arranging that good suit of feathers, he up and took off, just like that. And to boot, there are on this planet alone something like 2 million naturally occurring sweet things. Some with names so generous as to kick the steel from my knees. Agave, persimmon, stickball. The purple okra I bought for $2 at the market. Think of that. The long night, the skeleton in the mirror, the man behind me on the bus taking notes. Yeah. But look, my niece is running through a field calling my name. My neighbor sings like an angel, and at the end of my block is a basketball court. I remember. My color's green. I'm spring. For Walter Akins.
For Love by Robert Creeley. For Bombing. Yesterday, I wanted to speak of it, that sense above the others to me. Important because all that I know derives from what it teaches me. Today, what is it that is finally so helpless, different, despairs of its own statement, wants to turn away endlessly, to turn away? If the moon did not, no. If you did not, I wouldn't either. But what would I not do? What prevention? What thing so quickly stopped that is love yesterday or tomorrow, not now? Can I eat what you give me? I have not earned it. Must I think of everything as earned? Now, love also becomes a reward. So remote from me, I have only made it with my mind. Here is tedium, despair, a painful sense of isolation, and whimsical if pompous self-regard. But that image is only of the mind's vague structure, vague to me because it is my own. Love, what do I think to say? I cannot say it. What have you become to ask? What have I made you into? Companion, good company, crossed legs with skirt, or soft body under the bones of the bed. Nothing says anything, but that which it wishes would come true. fears. What else might happen in some other place, some other time, not this one? A voice in my place, an echo of that, only in yours. Let me stumble into not the confession, but the obsession. I begin with now, for you. Also, some time beyond place, or place beyond time. No mind left to say anything at all. That face gone now, into the company of love, it all returns.
Alright, so here we go. Like I said, you guys have all did an amazing job. I'm so glad I wasn't the judge this year because it would have been really, really hard to pick. I think many of them could be winners. So I'm just gonna call up third, second, first place, and so if I can just come up here, stand beside me. Before I do, I want to just, if you guys all stand up, I want to give them all a round of applause. In third place, we have Jessica McAllister. And in second place, we have Abbie Ham. And finally, our winner for 2019, representing Lyndon Institute in the state championship, which will be held, I don't know, is it March? Usually March. Coming up here in a little while is Abbie Ham. Good job. And I should say all of our finalists will